Hello ladies and gentlemen, Voxel Pro here, coming at you with a not why did I even say that? Well, yes, kind of a critique response video. Somebody had responded to me with a video, and you know what, forget it, I'm just gonna dive right into it. Okay, so first of all, I don't have a problem with this dude. I actually love talking about Metal Gear, but I love the jousting. And hold on, let me find his name. Let me sure I'm saying his name right. It's the TheKhKenny. His name is TheKhKenny. I got my computer right there. I got his video sitting up right now, where he's talking about, he's saying that I'm calling Yongye out. And maybe yes, in a sense, but not really. See, when I think of calling out, I think of, oh, I'm just aiming for top dog and I'm here to smack him back down. I'm here to challenge you, you know. And I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to pull away from any of his fans or trying to disappoint him or any of his fans by any means. But at the same time, I just had a problem with a couple of his theories, and I was like, whatever. So then this guy, the TheKhKenny, he had a problem with what I had a problem with, and I guess let's dive right into it. So the first thing that he said is that I don't really have a good reason to say that I have a problem with it if I use my problem with having that they used a different method, and using a different method is not enough to debunk what Yongye said. Alright, well, here let me say something in my defense. Okay, first of all, it's 3 in the morning, so I might mess up. I'm very tired. I've stayed up all day, and I just want to say that, okay, fine then. The one thing that you got me on is I did assume that pause, or at least the pause that we see in the trailer, was cloned sometime in between Peace Walker and Ground Zeroes. I did assume that, which might have not been the case. Which, if she was cloned earlier, then it's possible that she is the correct age without accelerated aging. Second thing, accelerated aging has nothing to do with the method, and you know, I'm fixing this. Accelerated aging has nothing to do with necessarily the cloning method itself, but kind of the genetic manipulation that they did for Solid, Liquid, and Solidus, because they didn't want their genetic information falling into the wrong hands. Third, I did have a problem with the way that he presented on why I said, you know, the science should have sped up or whatever, so that they didn't need to abort 6 of the fetuses, which I still kind of stand by what I originally said. I will only edit the fact that if we're going off of what his counter proposal was in the trailer, if you know, sorry, not the trailer, but in the video where he talks about one of my other problems that I had with the clone theory before that, if we're going off of what he said, and you could just directly clone Paz and that would be the perfect clone, then why couldn't you do the same for Big Boss? I mean, to directly clone him, why couldn't you do that? Like, if they use that method with Big Boss, then they should have been able to directly clone Big Boss if they used that method that was there. But no, I don't think that they used that method. Which is why I was like, you know, they had to learn something. You know, they had to learn something with the cloning method that would have, assuming that she was cloned somewhere in between the time of Big Peace Walker and Ground Zeroes. If they cloned her, yeah, if they cloned her between. Well, no, because then I don't know. Well, see, now I don't know, because then if that was the case, then sure, she would have been cloned right after, you know, them, and they would have already perfected it. So maybe not. I don't know. But at the same time, they would have had accelerated. They would have had their accelerated aging wouldn't have been. He brought up Solidus as a counterpoint to the accelerated aging, which I don't disagree with them. I only disagree with them in the fact of when the accelerated aging took place, because somehow if she's 9 right there, first of all, they don't have a motive to. Cypher doesn't really have a motive to put a life term on her to where she would accelerate age that early, looking like she's 20, 25 at 9 years old. That's one. Number two is that even with Solid, Liquid, and Solidus, their accelerated aging didn't happen. At least from what we can see, it for sure didn't happen when they were 12, and it didn't happen when they were in their early 30s. The only thing that we can see is that from Metal Gear Solid 2, Snake kind of looked like the age he was, which was about 37. And Solid Snake, you know, he started aging in between the events of Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 4. It's really when it started to speed up. But before then, it didn't really do that. So that's the other thing. Then he wanted to bring up, you know, it's possible if, you know, she was a perfect clone. And yes, but perfect, but he brought up Solidus. So perfect in what way? I would have to bring up perfect in what? Excuse me, in what way? Because even though Solidus was a perfect clone, he was only perfect in the fact that, you know, he was the perfect balance between the dominant and recessive genes, which, even though the dominant genes might have been, and I'm only saying this because I'm looking at Solid Snake here, that Liquid would have aged faster than Solid Snake, then Solidus would have probably aged slower than Solid Snake, but slower than Liquid Snake, but faster than Solidus. So that's all I got there. The other thing that, you know, he had a problem with, moving on to the other theory, is that, that I said that there must be a mission if Decoy Octopus is on, if Decoy Octopus is, you know, pretending to be Liquid Snake, and they're working together, then there must be a mission, you know, where, you know, Decoy Octopus acts as a decoy. What's the problem with that? I mean, is there any other reasonable option? Like, okay, the people out there who is watching this right now, all joking aside, what other alternative is there? If they're working together and one looks like the other, I've seen stuff like this in an action movie. Like, what other reason is there? Like, what other reason is there? Okay, fine then. Provide me with a logical. He was about to give me one. But he moved on to something else before he was gonna say what the I'm like, no, it's not. It's actually pretty plausible when you look at it that way. I mean, come on. Cypher was okay. Les Enfants Terribles project. All the clones were an insurance policy against Big Boss. You don't think Cypher wants their project back to, you know? So, which means that at some point that they could probably find them and try to take them back, but because Decoy from Mother Base, but since Decoy Octopus is there, you know, maybe they take him back instead, and they find out, that they've been duped, and then, you know, Snake and Miller and everybody at Mother Base goes after them. That's not possible. I mean, come on. I didn't say that it must be. I said it's possible. I said it's a logical thing to say. But I don't really know. I was with him up until that, because I'm like, that's probably like one of the most logical arguments that I made. And in that video. And okay, I see on another point, I do see where he's coming from, where he's talking about Liquid knowing about Solid. Okay, fine, I got you. But I kind of agree with you, I guess he made it he made it seem like it was a disagreement, but at the end of it, when you really look at what I was saying and what he was saying, we still kind of ended up agreeing with each other. Because he was saying, well, shouldn't I, you know, he was saying the part of the video where it was like, well, if, you know, if they're on opposite sides, shouldn't I want to kill them and stuff like that? And I was saying, well, why would they be sitting there? Obviously, like, that's my point. It's stupid for them to be sitting right across from each other and them being enemies. That's what I was saying. It was stupid, which is why I was like, that's illogical for them to be enemies in the helicopter. That's where we ended up agreeing with that. So I didn't see where the sounding of the disagreement came from. I don't know if there was anything else that I can't remember if there's anything else that he said. He didn't even reference the Psychomantis or anything that I said later, which means that he probably doesn't have a problem with that. So, you know, I think, but some of the things that he had a problem with, maybe not a few. It was more like one or two. He didn't provide counterexamples to what could possibly be. I know he said with the going back to the accelerated aging and stuff with the sped up. I was like, yeah, but my counterpoint to that is, you know, they didn't accelerate age until they were in their 30s. So to do it at 9 would kind of be premature. And I'm saying if them using a different method, this is what I was saying. If they had used a different method, if, this is assuming if I was just playing devil's advocate, if they are using a different method and why, and the pause that we see in the trailer is 9 looking like she's 20, then I would have to say that would have probably been a much better method for cloning Big Boss, being that you could just spit Big Bosses out all willy-nilly, you know, you could just, like, okay, if they cloned him in 1974, right, if they cloned him in 1974 and he was going off the premise on one of the other points of a perfect clone, taking it directly from them, then by the time that clone is 9, it should have been a full doggone man. Like he should have been combat ready for battle. Like the body would have been physically fit. Mentally, it would have been all there, you know. But with what they said in Metal Gear Solid, you know, with kind of what you see, what happens with Snake's mind in Metal Gear Solid 4, it ages kind of along with what he looks like, his ages. I don't know any other way else to say that. Oh, real quick, the other thing that he had a problem with was the fact that I said, you know, that they didn't know about each other, which I did say no, but that was my mistake. I meant met. Because if that's, like I said, if that's Decoy Octopus sitting in that seat and he's aware, if they're aware of each other, if one of them's Liquid and one of them's Decoy Octopus and they are aware of each other, then Liquid Snake's, listen to this, Liquid Snake's statement at in Metal Gear Solid 1 in the torture room doesn't make any sense at all. It just doesn't. Because he says after 30 long years we meet. Well, if Liquid remembers Solid and Decoy Octopus was not Solid, then even still Liquid should have said 20 years. Why was his memory off by 10 years? I mean, like, what happened? Like, didn't they meet when they were 12 or 13? Or like at the Shadow Moses incident, they were like 32, 33. So like, what happened with them meeting in that 12th year? Like, somehow you never met, but somehow you remember everything, like, leading up to y'all meeting. Like, you know, everything about each other leading up to y'all meeting. And, you know, there's multiple possibilities of why, you know, Liquid could have knew about Solid. You know, first of all, Ocelot could have told him. I mean, because somebody had to know about Miller. I mean, granted, he was in, like, I think he was in, like, Foxhound or something like that. And Liquid was part of Foxhound. He was part of the Foxhound uprising, but yeah, like, there's a lot of reasons of why Liquid could have known about Solid, and I'm not saying that that's the only reason, and I'm not saying why I'm saying it is the reason. I'm just saying there's multiple reasons. I'm saying my reason's plausible, and your reason is plausible. And you know, it's possible that they could have it's possible that Ocelot, like I said, Ocelot could have told him about that when in the events of Miller could have told Liquid about Solid in the events of the Phantom Pain, and Ocelot probably figured this out eventually. So, I mean, but at the same time, focus on this. At the same time, you know, stuff gets retconned all the time. Stuff gets rewritten, reworked, redubbed, and flipped, skipped, and dipped, and then remixed all the time. So, I mean, don't take it with a grain of salt. I mean, I mean, the reason why I, you know, got back in this video, which was not out of malice towards him, but I like the jousting. I like the jousting with the Metal Gear information, or just jousting period, because we could talk about anything. and like I said, have no ill will towards him. I actually love the video, but Metal Gear Solid's my thing, man. So yeah, I hope he puts up another one, you know, looking at this one. And if you guys see this one, and then you guys tell them about this one, that would make for an interesting conversation to see how far back and forth we can go. And I don't mind it. I don't mind it. And like I said, I don't do this out of anger, but I do this out of passion. Like, you know, I'm really passionate about Metal Gear, but you know, I just, for some of you guys out there, I guess critique was the wrong thing to name the video. and I'm sorry about that, but what else could I call it if I was like saying, if I was offering constructive criticism, like, oh, well, you know, I don't agree with this, you know, what else would you call that? The disagreement? Like, I could have, but critique sounded better. Whatever. So, thank you guys for watching this response video, and I hope that the dude gets back with me, and if he wants to chat it up, I'll be on Google+. Obviously, he can find me, if you're watching this, you can find me on Google+, Twitter. Yeah, I'm on Twitter, same handle, Voxel Pro. Facebook, if you want to follow me there. Although, I would say go to Google Plus first, because I'll follow that quicker than Twitter, then Facebook. That's kind of the priority that I set them in and noticing stuff. And I mean, like, Facebook is in dead last place. But Google Plus, then Twitter, and then YouTube is obviously somewhere. Is kind of a mix of Google Plus, so it's kind of tied since they're tied together. But to the rest of yous out there, real quick note, I didn't know that the critique video was gonna be that hot, you know, for me. Me just starting out, I thought 50 was big, and I was just fine with 50, you know, and I thought people were gonna leave it alone, but then I saw like 100, what? 200, what? 400? Like, what the crap? Like, it was gonna get that big? And then I didn't know there was gonna be that many thumbs down as there were like thumbs up. I just didn't know. So I hope you guys enjoy this. You know, we don't got long until the Phantom Pain comes out. And then you know, when the Phantom Pain comes out, it will put all of this to rest. No more guessing, no more theories, no more. So, you know, if he wants to get back, he would have to get back pretty quick, you know, unless this is not a priority for him, which, you know, I don't blame him. Again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.